prominence today. Got something to say? Let's hear it. Give us a call at 869-465-2555, Monday to Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. One solid hour of in-depth analysis of the machinery that makes our country tick. The Edge, cutting into the matters at hand.
The views and opinions expressed by participants and callers during this program are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or policies of ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation, its management, or sponsors. The station accepts no responsibility for statements made. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm your host, Devonne Cornelius, and thank you for joining me on the program for today. When we open the phone lines, you may call us at 662-8674. That is 662-8674. You are listening to The Edge for Tuesday, March 4th, 2025. It's another day, and I look forward to engaging with you, the listeners of this program, on matters of national importance as we have an insightful discussion about all things St. Kitts and Nevis. First, I'm going to do a quick recap of Monday's conversation with the Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley, who also serves as leader of the opposition in the National Assembly, and the conversation was on geothermal energy. Then we are going to shift the focus a bit to a major healthcare breakthrough in St. Kitts and Nevis, which is the launch of a brand new state-of-the-art CT scan machine at the Josephine France General Hospital. And so on Monday we had a conversation with Premier Brantley about geothermal energy, one of the hottest topics, not just in St. Kitts and Nevis, but in the region right now, with other countries also exploring geothermal, Dominica and I believe Montserrat as well. As you may know, Nevis was one of the front runners in geothermal development, and St. Kitts and Nevis has been working towards harnessing its geothermal potential and the potential for years. And on Monday, Premier Brantley shared his insights on the progress, where we are now, the challenges, and what's next. He spoke about some of the investment partnerships on regulatory hurdles, expected completion dates, what St. Kitts and Nevis stands to benefit in terms of economic development from the exploration, and ultimately to have geothermal here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Right off the bat, we know a reduction in energy costs, electricity bills, and of course energy security. And then we're talking about employment, whether it be long-term or short-term employment, but you can see how it is going to impact the economy. And then we're looking at revenue generation, where there are talks for possibly exporting some of the geothermal energy to countries across the region. I know that there have been talks with Dominica to see where they are and how they can, possibly collaborate. It is 6 minutes past the 11 o'clock hour, so we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation here on The Edge for Tuesday, March 4th, 2025. Stay with us.
of ZIZ Radio comes a political talk show like no other. The Edge, with host Devonne Cornelius giving you his take on the biggest stories happening in governance today. Got something to say? Let's hear it. Give us a call at 869-465-2555, Monday to Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. One solid hour of in-depth analysis of the machinery that makes our country tick. The Edge, cutting into the matters at hand.
It has been 2 years since Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew led his team to victory at the polls and assumed the reins of government. He and his team came to office on the promise of restoring our nation to its glory days, when good governance assured every citizen and resident was guaranteed economic stability and employment, quality health care and education, modern housing, and visionary social protections. But where are they now? And how do they measure up in delivering on the promises made to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis? Join me, Ebony Brandon, on ZIZ Television each Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. with a rebroadcast on Fridays at 8 p.m. for the limited episode series, The Nine, an era of transformation. As together we explore how the Dr. Terence Drew-led government has followed through on their commitment to transforming the nation into the world's first sustainable island state.
Make me some music. Listen, you hear the song? It's Nostalgia on ZIZ Radio from 1 to 3 in the afternoon on Thursdays. On Nostalgia, everybody has a good voice, so relax and go in the zone with us. Get your songbook, look in the index, find the song that is playing, and sing along. Join ZIZ Radio every Thursday from 1 to 3 for Nostalgia. It's music to soothe you right here with us. ZIZ Radio, touching you with variety and style.
Hello and welcome back to The Edge in ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm your host Devonne Cornelius, and thank you for joining me on the program for today. When we open the phone lines, you may call us at 662-8674. That is 662-8674. Let's have a conversation on all things happening here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so, as I said in my opening, on Monday, I had a conversation via the telephone with Premier of Nevis, the Honourable Mark Brantley, and the conversation was centered around geothermal development, and we are, as a federation, with this. We know recently we secured funding, I believe more than $30 million for the development of geothermal in St. Kitts and Nevis. It is something that goes as far as back to 2004. That is when we first heard about geothermal development in the Federation, particularly on the island of Nevis. And more than 20 years later, we have made progress. We have made progress. Of course, there were concerns about past setbacks. And what is different now? What is different now, according to the Premier, is the fact that we have secured funding. And we know that the government of St. Kitts and Nevis and the Nevis Island administration have been collaborating on this initiative for some time now. But according to the Premier, what is different now is that we have secured funding on this geothermal development, and I believe it is something that people generally are looking forward to in terms of what benefits could be derived from having geothermal energy in St. Kitts and Nevis. I believe the benefits are going to trickle down to the small man in terms of the cost of electricity, because we know that is something that people continue to deal with, the high cost of electricity. And so when we could now rule out or stop use fossil fuels and rely on geothermal energy, and you're talking about a possible reduction in the cost of electricity. You're talking about revenue generation. You're talking about job creation, expansion of the economy. And as stated yesterday, Monday, with St. Kitts and Nevis being a country that is heavily reliant on the tourism industry for generating revenue, and of course our citizenship by investment program, those are two lucrative but in a sense unsustainable industries. It has its time when it's good, things are going well, and then you have the slow or the low season. And so it does not make any sense for us to have all of our eggs in one basket. We have to find a way to invest in other areas of the economy to ensure that we keep St. Kitts and Nevis afloat. And that has been the focus of the last couple of years, to tap into other areas of the economy. And so whether it be agriculture with the 25 by 25 agenda and food security, where we're saying, look, we want to grow more of our food so that we can reduce the food import bill, because I believe St. Kitts and Nevis has one of the highest food import bills in the region. A lot of what we consume here, a lot of what we purchase from the supermarkets, they're not made in St. Kitts and Nevis, and gradually we want to get away from that, where we are producing our own food. And so we're talking about our farmers. We know the agriculture department has been encouraging backyard gardening and all of these different things. Now, to shift us a bit into healthcare, just a few days ago, I believe it was yesterday, Prime Minister and Minister of Health, Dr. Terence Drew, officially launched the brand new CT scan machine at the Josephine France General Hospital. And this is going to bring proper diagnostic tools that have been lacking over the years. Now, according to Dr. Drew, this machine will help diagnose things like strokes, heart disease, and even some cancers, diseases that are far too common in our communities. It's a multi-million-dollar investment aimed at bringing our healthcare system up to international standards. And so this was launched yesterday at the Josephine France General Hospital. A statement from the Ministry of Health says that this advanced piece of medical equipment represents a major milestone in the nation's ongoing efforts to improve healthcare services and ensure the well-being of citizens. During remarks at a brief launch ceremony, the Prime Minister recognized the significant impact of the new machine on healthcare delivery in St. Kitts and Nevis. He further noted that the CT scan machine will play a pivotal role in the government's broader goal of upgrading the hospital to achieve accreditation. The launch event was attended by key health officials, including Dr. Jensen Morrison, who is the Director of Health Institution, who acknowledged the 2-year process behind securing the machine and ensuring that all preparations were in place for its successful operation. He said that this was a multi-million-dollar investment that took time and effort to bring to fruition. The machine had to be ordered along with supporting systems such as the UPS and the injector system. Several aspects of the hospital infrastructure had to be upgraded. He added that we also urged that all staff members receive comprehensive training to operate and maintain the machine, which is vital for its longevity and effectiveness in serving the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. The Prime Minister also expressed gratitude to various stakeholders who contributed to the success of this project, including Dr. Frank Laws, Special Envoy for Health. The addition of the citizen machine is a significant step toward or forward in improving the diagnostic capabilities of the nation's healthcare system, and it will serve not only St. Kitts but Nevis as part of the government's ongoing efforts to ensure that citizens receive the highest standard of medical care. The phone lines are now open, and we're taking your calls at 662-8674. That is 662-8674, and you're listening to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm your host, Devonne Cornelius, and thank you for joining me in the program for today. If you have no calls, we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation here on the program. Stay with us.
From the heart of ZIZ Radio comes a political talk show like no other. The Edge, with host Devonne Cornelius giving you his take on the biggest stories happening in governance today. Got something to say? Let's hear it. Give us a call at 869-465-2555, Monday to Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. One solid hour of in-depth analysis of the machinery that makes our country tick. The Edge, cutting into the matters at hand.
In the sun or in the rain, life's a journey, joy and pain. But NCI's here day and night, always here for you, making it right. Always here for you. With NCI you've got a friend, always here for you, right here till the very
At National Caribbean Insurance, you are covered and secure. We're your partner, your protector, your peace of mind. So for home, for health, for life, choose NCI because we're always here for you. Always.
Always here for you. With NCI, you've got a friend. Always here for you. Right here till the very end. Always here for you. With NCI, you've got a friend. Always here for you. Right here till the very end.
The views and opinions expressed by participants and callers during this program are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or policies of ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation, its management, or sponsors. The station accepts no responsibility for statements made. Welcome back to The Edge on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm your host, Devonne Cornelius, and thank you for joining me in the program for today, Tuesday, March 4th, 2025. The phone lines are open, or the phone line is open, and we're taking your calls at 662-8674. That is 662-8674. We're looking, well, briefly a recap for those of you who may have just tuned in, a recap of Monday's conversation as it relates to geothermal development in St. Kitts and Nevis, and now today with the launch, I think the launch would have been yesterday, but the launch of a new CT scan machine here at St. Kitts and Nevis, and that is a significant addition to the delivery of healthcare, or our healthcare system here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so these are two major things happening as we're talking about healthcare and natural resources. Going back to the point that I made earlier with us being reliant on tourism and CVI, and I've been reading recently, well, I think most of you would know by now that Donald Trump recently announced that his administration intends to offer something called a gold card, or a gold card. So you have the green card. He's looking at offering something called the gold card, and the gold card, from what I was made to understand, is going to mirror. It will be similar to CBI programs here in the region, particularly St. Kitts and Nevis. And of course, many people have been asking, what is Trump's gold card route to citizenship and how might it work? So President Donald Trump announced that he would be selling a gold card, and this is allowing foreign-born potential immigrants a pathway to citizenship for about $5 million. And he said, and I quote, "You have a green card. This is now a gold card," the president told reporters in the Oval Office. He said, "We're going to be putting a price on that card of about $5 million, and that's going to give you green card privileges. Plus, it's going to be a route to citizenship. And wealthy people will be coming into our country by buying this card." The president said that cards would begin to be sold in about 2 weeks. Though experts warn that the newly announced program cannot be done by Trump alone, the president can't create a visa. That's for Congress to do, says Laurie Nessel, a professor at Seton Hall University's School of Law. The Trump administration has been looking for ways to cut the U.S. deficit through new agencies like the Department of Government Efficiency, and the gold card could be just one such way. The president is hoping to increase revenue. An October 28, 2024 analysis of the Trump administration's fiscal plan found that it would likely increase the deficit by $7.75 trillion over the next decade. And last year, the federal deficit reached $1.83 trillion, according to fiscal data by the U.S. Treasury Department. And so the question, of course, is what does this mean for Caribbean CBI programs? With the launch of, is this now competition? Are they mirroring what we're offering here in St. Kitts and Nevis or in the region? Let me say that. Are they mirroring what we're offering here in the region? I don't think it is to suggest that this is where they're going to be focusing on now. As stated here, it's a way of revenue generation. And that has been the same for St. Kitts and Nevis and other regions that utilize CBI programs. While unfortunately we've seen we've relied heavily on this industry that may be lucrative but unsustainable, we have to find a way, as we've been doing, to tap into other areas of the economy. And one such area, I believe, is education and skills training. Of course, if we want our people to be able to take up the jobs that are in the market, they either must be trained, skilled, have the experience or expertise. CARICOM met earlier this year, and at their 48th regular meeting, they spoke about the full free movement of CARICOM nationals. And I believe it will begin on June 1st. So not every country is going to participate in the first instance, but for those countries that have signed on and have already put a framework in place as to how exactly they're going to participate, and I believe that is a date when they're going to officially get things off of the ground. But the idea behind full free movement is to ensure that our people can move within the region and offer their skills, the expertise, the training that they have to the labor market. And so it simply means that someone from St. Kitts and Nevis who is qualified in engineering or electrical work or plumbing or media or whatever, therefore means that an opportunity would be there for them to travel to another country in the region to take up employment and to add to the labor market. We have a caller on the line, so we'll take this call for today. Hello, caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Hi, this Akeem?
Hello, caller, you're on the air. Good morning. Hello, caller. Okay, we seem to have lost that call. The number is 662-8674. That is 662-8674. You're listening to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. And so we know with the CARICOM Full Free movement, again, it is an opportunity for people to move within the region and offer their training, their expertise, their knowledge of whatever industry that they would be working in. And this is a way of building the region. Now, I was reading up on what came out of that meeting. And one such thing was, I think it was a minister from Montserrat, stand to be corrected, and he spoke about regional travel. And we know regional travel has long been a hot button topic where, of course, people would say that, hey, I prefer to travel to the US mainland than to travel to a country in the region because it is a lot more expensive. But apart from the expensive side of things, that particular, I think it was a minister of government from Montserrat, spoke about the process or the immigration procedures of traveling across the region. And I think he made mention of why are we not using our IDs to travel? That's the argument that he made. For example, if you're in the US mainland, you use your ID because you're traveling from New York to California or from California to Washington. And he's saying here in the region, if we are really and truly a Caribbean community, then I should travel on my voter's ID from here to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I think we have a caller back on the line. Let's take this one. Hello, caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Statement that you're referencing.
Sorry, caller, could you speak up a bit? I'm not hearing you clearly.
The person you're referencing was the Premier of Montserrat.
Oh, it was the Premier. Okay.
Ruben Meade. He was a former Premier too.
Okay.
He's a former Premier. Yeah. All right, sir.
All right, caller. Thank you for your contribution to the program. Yes, it was Ruben Meade from Montserrat, and he spoke about what is the role of CARICOM and the fact that we are traveling across the region. Why can't we travel with our IDs? And he spoke about regional travel and that being a really, really serious issue. But yeah, that is Ruben Meade. I'll look into that some more and share some information from you. It's 11:30. Let's take this break, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation here on The Edge. Stay with us.
Join us every Wednesday for In Focus, a weekly talk show produced by the St. Kitts Nevis Information Service, where we provide exclusives with key persons within the government and discuss pertinent, relevant, and interesting matters that affect us all. Tune in every Wednesday, live on ZIZ Radio and streamed live on Facebook at SKNIS Media and ZIZ Online. In Focus, your government, your business.
It has been 2 years since Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew led his team to victory at the polls and assumed the reins of government. He and his team came to office on the promise of restoring our nation to its glory days, when good governance assured every citizen and resident was guaranteed economic stability and employment, quality health care and education, modern housing, and visionary social protections. But where are they now? And how do they measure up in delivering on the promises made to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis? Join me, Ebony Brandon, on ZIZ Television each Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. with a rebroadcast on Fridays at 8 p.m. for the limited episode series, The Nine, an Era of Transformation, as together we explore how the Dr. Terence Drew-led government has followed through on their commitment to transforming the nation into the world's first sustainable island state.
The views and opinions expressed by participants and callers during this program are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or policies of ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation, its management, or sponsors. The station accepts no responsibility for statements made. Welcome back to the Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm your host, Devonne Cornelius, and thank you for joining me in the program for today, Tuesday, March 4th, 2024. For those of you who may have just tuned in, I gave a quick recap of the conversation on Monday with the Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley, and the conversation was centered around geothermal development in St. Kitts and Nevis in terms of where we are now, the challenges and the benefits that could come from geothermal development in our country, and looking at the launch of a new CT scan machine at the Josephine French General Hospital here in St. Kitts, and generally looking at regional matters in terms of tourism and CBI being the two major economic drivers of countries in the region, and how do we move away or shift the focus rather to other areas of our economy, because we do not want a situation where all of our eggs are in one basket and we're scrambling to try to find a way to keep our heads above the water in any Caribbean island. And so our respective governments, of course, are the ones tasked with coming up with transformative ways and transformative policies that will move us in the right direction. And so it does not mean to continue to pump money into industries that are unsustainable. It means to tap into other areas that we can use to diversify the economy. And I believe two such major areas for any administration would be education and training, or skills training, and agriculture, because we must eat. We know we are dealing with high inflation, and as a result of that, things that are not produced here in St. Kitts and Nevis or within close proximity to St. Kitts and Nevis are becoming extremely expensive. And there are only, I believe, two options to this. Is either the cost is passed down to us as consumers, or the government decides to foot the bill and absorb that cost. The thing is, though, on the surface it may look like, well, the government has decided to absorb the cost, but then we are going to get all of that back through taxes and all of these different things. And so we see how this thing could be how it is concerning and how it is affecting the development of the region. What we did here in St. Kitts and Nevis, the administration launched a budget boost wallet initiative, which is now heading into its third month. It started in January and it is expected to run until June. It offers $250 to people who reside in St. Kitts and Nevis and who are making $5,000 or less per month. And it is to offer assistance for essential items, things that you absolutely need. And you're talking about the food and paying your electricity and water bills and paying your mortgage at NHC, NHLDC. But really and truly, it is things that we need, and that is what the money had been designated for. And it was done differently than to just deposit the money directly into people's accounts, because with this money going into the digital wallets, at least you know for a fact, okay, the money is being used on food, it is being used on electricity, it is being used on water, and you can use that information to shape or to guide future assistance programs and future initiatives, offered by the government, because we see where the money is being spent and we see where the need is, and these things are absolutely important. And so again, I continue to encourage you to sign up for this initiative if you have not yet done so. The numbers are 467-1370. That's who you call to get more details about the budget boost wallet. But the latest numbers that we received from the Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Marcus Natter, was some 23,000 people have already signed up for this initiative. And so you see where people have been responding to this. People are aware of this assistance and what it offers. And so about more than 23,000 people have signed up. And I believe just over 22,000 have since received payments and will continue to receive payments up until the month of June. It is 11:38 and you're listening to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm your host, Devonne Cornelius, and thank you for joining me on the program for today. As we know, and this is just a quick update, as we know, St. Kitts and Nevis, we've been making strides as it relates to plastic, the ban of single-use plastics here in St. Kitts and Nevis. I think the ban on the importation of plastic that has already taken place, and the Department of Environment, they have been on a campaign to sensitize people about the benefits of that. And so in anticipation of the forthcoming ban, so the ban is coming. So yes, March 31st is the ban. I apologize for that. March 31st is the ban. So in anticipation of the forthcoming ban on single-use plastics, the Department of Environment organized an informative and interactive public event entitled Path to a Plastic-Free Future. And it was an effort involving Solid Waste Management Corporation and the Taiwan Technical Mission. And the objective really was to raise awareness regarding the environmental and health implications of plastic waste while promoting sustainable solutions for a greener future. As we prepare to implement the first phase of the single-use plastics, the event was basically to empower individuals and businesses to adopt eco-friendly alternatives and explore opportunities within the expanding green economy. And citizens were provided with valuable insights into the dynamics of the single-use plastics bill, engaged in discussions regarding the detrimental effects of plastic pollution, and learned actionable strategies to minimize their environmental impact. So we know we can't just ban plastic across the board completely, because there are items that I would say are essential that we use that contain plastic, but it is something that could be done in phases. And so the single-use plastics, the t-shirt bags and all of those things are going to be bad to protect the environment. It is 11:40 and you're listening to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm your host, Devonne Cornelius, and I thank you for joining me on the program for today. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation here on The Edge. Stay with us.
Make me some music.
Listen, you hear that song? It's Nostalgia on ZIZ Radio from 1 to 3 in the afternoon on Thursdays. On Nostalgia, everybody has a good voice, so relax and go in the zone with us. Get your songbook, look in the index, find the song that is playing, and sing along. Join ZIZ Radio every Thursday from 1 to 3 for Nostalgia. It's music to soothe you right here with us. ZIZ Radio, touching you with variety and style.
In the sun or in the rain, life's a journey, joy and pain. But NCI's here day and night, always here for you, making it right. Always here for you. With NCI, you've got a friend, always here for you, right here till the very
At National Caribbean Insurance, you are covered and secure. We're your partner, your protector, your peace of mind. So for home, for health, for life, choose NCI because we're always here for you. Always.
Always here for you. With NCI, you've got a friend. Always here for you. Right here till the very end. Always here for you. With NCI, you've got a friend. Always here for you. Right here till the very end.
The views and opinions expressed by participants and callers during this program are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or policies of ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation, its management, or sponsors. The station accepts no responsibility for statements made. Hello and welcome back to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm your host, Devonne Cornelius, and thank you so much for joining me on the program for today, Tuesday, March 4th, 2025. It's Tuesday, March 4th, 2025. It's 11:43, and we'll take this conversation just before noon as we prepare for our midday newscast. The phone lines are open at 662-8674. And an opportunity for you to call and share your views and opinions on the matters that we've discussed on any matter of national importance. But for those of you who may have just joined the conversation, I shared a quick recap on Monday's conversation on geothermal development in St. Kitts and Nevis, the way forward, some of the challenges that we faced, and what are some of the benefits that could be derived from this industry, and looking at the launch of a new CT scan machine at the Josephine France General Hospital. And so we're talking about two major things in the area of health, healthcare, and with geothermal, we're talking about sustainable development, the environment, natural resources, and you know, this is a part of the sustainable island state agenda. In a sense, we want to make St. Kitts and Nevis sustainable. We want to put the economy in a position where things are good, and the people are able to provide for their families. Of course, it's not going to be a bed of roses in any situation, but you want to ensure that you continue to add to the expansion and the development of our economy here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And that does not mean to continue to put all of your eggs in one basket or continue to invest in an area that is unsustainable. But it therefore means to invest in new industries, into new sectors, and see what can you offer, what can you bring to the table to move St. Kitts and Nevis forward. When I made reference to the IMF report last week, I believe it was, it stressed the importance of having infrastructure that could respond to natural disasters. But in particular, it talked about things like, natural disasters, and in our context in St. Kitts and Nevis, hurricanes. And we get some hurricanes that are strong, and these hurricanes are getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And so it simply means that we must have infrastructure in place that could respond to or adapt to the changing climate. It's getting hotter and hotter, and the hurricanes are getting stronger and stronger. And so it doesn't make any sense for us to keep building what we're not adhering to, or we are ignoring what is to come, and in some cases what is already here. My thing is, we study what it is, and we try to find a way, of how best we can move forward, and how best we can ensure that St. Kitts and Nevis remains sustainable, or we get to the sustainable island state that we have been working towards over the last couple of years. But the question is, how can our people here in St. Kitts and Nevis play a role or play a part in that? How can we ensure that we get to the sustainable island state agenda? How can we ensure that here in St. Kitts and Nevis we are doing things responsibly and sustainably? I think those are the questions that people naturally would have on their minds. Are we doing things responsibly, sustainably? Are we preparing St. Kitts and Nevis for an emergency? We heard the term "save for a rainy day." St. Kitts and Nevis has to, of course, save for a rainy day, because you don't know what the future holds. You don't know what tomorrow holds, and these preparations are absolutely key, and they're absolutely important. So when we're talking about the development or additions being made to the delivery of healthcare in St. Kitts and Nevis, we know the government has announced plans to construct a climate-smart hospital. And of course, many questions came, what exactly is a climate-smart hospital? It is a hospital that could respond to the change in natural disasters. And so how do we move forward? How best do we move forward? These are the questions that have been asked as it relates to the challenges that we face as a small island developing state. That is something that we must definitely understand. So we are small, we are still developing, because we are way behind compared to other countries across the globe. So we are small, we're still developing, and we have to deal with climate change. Now, what is disheartening and concerning for me, as I've been following in the international news and international politics, is that, for example, America, and since Donald Trump has taken the head as the office, as president, it is that it appears to be this disregard for these global issues, right? And so here we are in the region putting a ban on single-use plastics. But Donald Trump is saying we're bringing back plastic straws. And for me, it is concerning because those larger countries contribute significantly more to the global emissions than we do as a small island developing state. And so when you look at the footprint, you don't really see much of the Caribbean. You don't see much of St. Kitts and Nevis, if you could see anything at all. But those larger countries, they are the ones who are causing or are part of the issues that we are having as it relates to climate change. I'm not saying that we don't contribute at all. But when you look at the comparison, I think the writing is on the wall, and it is very, very, very clear. But it is concerning that in the region and even other countries across the globe, we are looking to ban plastics and really address the situation as it relates to our environment. But here we have the United States saying, no. For me, that is rather unfortunate. Of course, with the shutdown of the U.S. aid, that has been a ripple effect in the sense that there are a number of people, a number of nationalities across the globe who depend heavily on the funding or from the revenue that will come from U.S. aid. That is no more. That is no more. And how does this affect the region? How does this affect efforts to curb diseases or infectious diseases? These things are alarming, and us here in St. Kitts and Nevis, we really need to pay attention to what is happening on the global stage, because these things, believe it or not, are going to affect us. And it is going to affect us in a very bad way. Because something as simple as the president's comments as it relates to plastic straws, and then we know that the USA has pulled away from the World Health Organization. I mean, all of these things are, I believe, very concerning, and these are things that we must take seriously. I mean, there's nobody who could bully America to say, look, you must be a part of this or you must be a part of that. But my thing is, think about the fallout. Think about the fallout and how this is going to destabilize diplomacy. That's how I see it across the globe. That is alarming. It doesn't matter how you twist it nor turn it. For me, it is alarming. We just have a few minutes left before we wrap up the conversation here on The Edge, and I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to each and every one of you for tuning into the conversation for today. We'll be back tomorrow to continue the conversation on the IMF report, which was recently published, and we'll be having a guest to give their take on that. The fact that there had not been an IMF report for some time, and we're now getting these IMF reports, and so we'll be having a conversation on that tomorrow. But nevertheless, thank you so much for your contribution, and until next time, you guys continue to stay safe. Don't drink and drive. Don't text and drive. If you're going to party responsibly. You guys take care. Coming up at noon, in about 5 minutes, is our midday newscast. Goodbye.
ZIZ Radio, entertaining the nation, enjoyed by the world.
Every Saturday from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., ZIZ Radio goes into overdrive with the Magic Fingers Ronnie Rascal Mega Mix Show. You heard? Up your dial to 96.1 FM. It's the show that brings the vibes to your Saturday afternoon lime, bar hopping, party hangouts, or